Welcome back to the OKC Foodcast, your guide to the food in Oklahoma. This week, we're talking about edible OKC. If you haven't done so yet, you got to check this out. Pick up a magazine, go on their website. It is, 1, stunning, and then 2, informative.
In that order, I think we'll take it.
And you're obviously joined by your hosts, Nabil,
Josh,
and Christina.
And joining us in the studio today are our good friends now, return guests of the podcast, even though you've only heard them once.
Secret guests, yeah.
Stuart and Jenny from Edible OKC.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome
back.
Thanks for coming back. So you probably heard, if you heard the little weird 2-minute message that I posted one of the weeks, they were in for a conversation about Edible OKC, and it was a really, really good conversation. And unfortunately, one of the microphones was just acting up. It was its day, and here we are doing this again, which I'm not sad about.
I'm not sad
because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get back into it.
As are we. It's our pleasure.
Now we just have to recreate everything word for word.
Right. Let me listen to the other episode, and we can script it out.
Memorized everything that I said.
I don't remember a single word I said. This is going to be just as fresh.
I was trying to remember. I was like, what was my eat of the week? Not that I was going to use the same one, but I was just curious. I'm like, what did I eat 3 weeks ago? So, you have notes for me?
On what you ate 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, what was it?
I'm just kidding. They're my notes.
All right. Well, since we're talking about eat of the week, who wants to go first?
Let's get it started.
I'll go first. And ironically, this is also the one that I mentioned a couple weeks ago when they were here, just because I happened to have it again for lunch today. I went back to Bandy's Barbecue in Chisholm Creek, and
Nice.
menu's good.
That was the one you had.
It was, yeah. So, I mean, it's just good stuff. I got a haircut
Oh, nice.
at Scissors and Scotch over lunch. And I was like, I'm here. I've got to do it.
You already got that smoky flavor from the scotch.
That's right. That's right. So, went over, had some sliced brisket. But again, for the second time in a row, the star of the show was the fried okra.
Okay.
The
So
fried
consistent.
okra. It's
Love it.
very consistent, salty, peppery, doesn't get soggy at all, but it's not like overdone. Like I normally have to go to a restaurant and order like extra crispy fried okra. I don't have to do that. I actually forgot to do that, I think, the first time I went, and as soon as I ordered, I was like, oh crap, like I hope like they actually get it right and it's not soggy. It was not, and so I did it again the same way, and it was the exact same thing. Best fried okra I've had.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that's mine.
Yummy.
Okay, so I went to Ludivine with my family a couple of weekends ago. So it's not eat of the week, so I'm cheating. But
Cheat meal.
my cheat meal. I hadn't been to Ludivine in a long time, but their menu is so different and unique. Like I know that a lot of other places, at least like where I'm from in Bolivia, people do eat a lot of rabbit and duck, and I haven't really found a place like that here in Oklahoma, but Ludivine does have that, and I love how they cook their meat and how they present it. So what I had particularly that was so good was a roasted rabbit leg, and I'm just gonna read their because it's just so awesome. So it's served on an asparagus puree. They have roasted bell peppers and a rosemary cream. It was the portion size is just right, and it's if you haven't had rabbit before, it's not that different. I think that if you're feeling adventurous and you want to try a different type of meat, definitely go to Ludivine because you'll have a really awesome selection there. I do want to mention, just a few weeks ago, they did decide to do a vaccination only, I think, for people that are eating inside. So do remember to take your vaccine card if you have it. I know that.
Did they ask you for it when you went?
I already had it ready, so they didn't really had an opportunity to ask me. I was like, here. I'm here.
Can I see your ID?
Are you old enough? No, I just kind of had it ready. I was like, here, I have a reservation, blah, blah, blah. And I just had my COVID vaccination card
You can
out.
look up my reservation under my vaccine number.
Yeah. I know that if you're not vaccinated, I know a lot of people can't get the vaccination for a number of reasons, but they do have their patio open, and which they're welcoming.
So it's only
everyone.
for inside.
Only for
Okay.
inside dining, yeah. So, yeah.
It's
so
a
that was,
happy medium, I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
I did hear that they booked up immediately after making that announcement.
Oh, really?
For days in advance.
Wow. Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
it's like a comfort level thing, right?
Yeah. And I know they were getting a little bit of criticism on their social
Mm-hmm.
media, and I wanted to make sure I supported that because I do support, businesses. They own their business; they can really enforce the rules that they want. So yeah, I'm glad
It's
that
the point of owning your business, isn't it?
Yep. This is America. So. Yep.
My turn?
Go for it.
Okay. My eat of the week was still Casso's chicken. Vegan. The best vegan chicken sandwich I feel like here in the city, which you can catch at the Press down in the Plaza District on Wednesdays.
Okay.
So everyone go on Wednesdays. Grab your vegan chicken sandwich because the more we buy it, the more that they're going to put it out, hopefully, and add it to the menu. So I really love the owner, and I just like supporting the little guys and just try to help them make it to the big time. So very tasty vegan chicken sandwich.
The question is, how many times have you had that since we talked about this 3 weeks ago?
Well, since it's only there on
Sick.
Wednesdays.
Is it just there on Wednesdays?
And then they also
She got one to go.
Plenty to go.
They also serve Casso's like chicken biscuits in the morning at the is it the Owl Coffee down on Britton?
Oh.
So yeah, that's available every day. So if you need a little chicken and biscuit fix every morning, feel free to drive through and say hi to me.
Nice. I was just pondering vegan chicken sandwich.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, I want to try it out.
See you there next Wednesday.
All right. Done.
That's a good response. Ponder it some more with me while
We will discuss this at depth.
Preferably during happy hour.
eat of the week. So a couple weeks ago, I had said it was my my neighbor's roast beef that she modified from St. Elijah's Church. They're Lebanese.
Very impressed that
They're-
everyone remembers what their eat of the weeks were because I have no idea.
Well, this one stood out, and my wife is she's Lebanese, and St. Elijah's puts out this cookbook that's been, I think, in its third iteration over the course of the last 50 years, I think. So that really stood out, and this is actually an echo of that. I ate for the first time at Uzi's, which is down in between 11th and 12th on the west side of the street on Chartel. I have to give all those descriptions because you would never see it otherwise. It says it's a Mediterranean restaurant, but what it is a husband, wife, and the husband's mother. And the mother is in the back making all, and she is actually Lebanese, came from Lebanon.
Sold.
He's first generation, and she's in there like making her recipes in the back. And the back is also pretty close to the front, so you can kind of see everything.
Oh man,
which is great.
so you
And,
can kind of see her in action.
and it's one of those things like so many things, like whether it's Tex-Mex or Mediterranean food, there's this giant cloud of what that means, and there's so much that gets thrown in there, but it is Lebanese food. They use the accent from the part of Lebanon where so many folks in the Lebanese Oklahoma community are from, and it's about as real as it gets in terms of eating inside or eating at a restaurant in Oklahoma City.
That's awesome.
Except for
I did
Uzi's?
not know about that.
Uzi's,
place.
How do you
Yeah.
spell that?
OOZIE.
OOZIE.
Yeah, and it's on the first floor inside of an office building with no signage, and their lease is up next year. So
So real hole in the wall.
real, yeah, like almost literally. Yeah,
Yes.
Hidden gem is what we call those.
Those hidden gems.
So that's an eat of the week.
Nice.
So,
Oh, that sounds great.
I'm curious. What does your wife think about it? Does she?
Oh
Bring
boy,
back a lot
Getting
of
to the
nostalgia?
hard questions.
I feel like I should readjust myself here. So what happens when when you're in this situation is you compare the food you eat to the recipes that you grew up with.
Oh, 100%.
And when is that ever beneficial to the people whose food you went out and got? She loved overall. She thought all of it was quite good, but the way that you spice things, the way your grandmother spiced things,
Yeah.
and every family has got their little different take on it, and so that always makes it a challenging process, I think. But overall, I mean, it was a fantastic meal.
Yeah, we actually talked about this on our last episode. Is I usually don't go out much for Pakistani or Indian food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mom makes it at home and it hardly ever stands up. Now places I would say are good or not so good, but it'd be like that craving is not satisfied otherwise because you make it just a little bit different. It's just a little bit. So totally get that.
Yeah.
But if she likes it, as long as you like it, because you're a very harsh critic at that point, to say yes to a place, like getting that yes to a place is hard.
Yeah.
Getting the place is all right is fairly easy
Means a
because
lot, yeah.
it's hard to kind of say bad things about your traditional food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
Well, and it's something too that you feel like if you can make it at home and you have relatively fresh spices, there ends up being a pretty big hurdle to saying, okay, let's go out and get the same thing that I was just going to make and see what it's like. I mean,
Exactly.
we have an 11-month-old, and so it's got to be a pretty long day with an 11-month-old before we're going out to get Lebanese food.
So Uzis, need to try that.
Yeah.
Okay. My eat of the week was the Heat. I don't know if y'all have tried this in Edmond. It's on Broadway and 8th-ish, 10th-ish, a little north of 15. And they do Chicago-style pizzas. Like, they're known for the Chicago styles, and the New York styles are really good as well. It used to be called Humble Pie, and then they had to change their name to the
I know
Heat.
where this is now.
As soon as you say Humble Pie, like everyone's like, oh, yes, I remember this place. And it's funny, their name says the Heat, and then parentheses, still Humble Pie.
No way. I love that.
Because, it's the same stuff. Same guy, Matthew, is back there, and he has been to pizza festivals where he's won, the international thing that happens in Vegas in March.
Yeah.
He's been to that. He's won there. He went to the pizza school, he was telling me recently, to study under Tony, starts with a G something, but he is a pizza G. So,
Nice play.
so he's like learned from the best, and the pizza is incredible. So, yeah, was not disappointed. We brought it home because, and then obviously since we went there and I know him, we were chatting, and so I was like, I'm probably gonna have to heat this up. He's like, well, just do it slowly, let the inside heat up so you don't burn the crust, and even reheat it. It was amazing. So,
What'd you have?
Nice.
we made our own.
Oh.
Because we are, I don't know, pretty picky about how we want our pizza to taste. And I don't know, it's kind of like an apples to apples thing. So I got the Chicago style, similar to how I would have gotten like my New York style. It's weird. Probably shouldn't be similar, but here we are. Try to remember what all we got on there, but we definitely had beef in there. We had jalapenos. We had roasted peppers, onions, and their signature cheese blend, the red sauce, and then they had a chipotle barbecue sauce that they made. Ooh. That sounded very interesting on one of the other pizzas. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, hey, can we get like half of the side drizzled with this chipotle barbecue sauce just so we could try it? And yeah, very accommodating in that. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. You customize it however you want. So
wonderful.
It was delicious. And now for the main event for the second time, by special request, an encore.
Yeah,
exactly. There you
go. Let's talk about Edible OKC and this fantastic magazine and portal, essentially, that you have into the world of Oklahoma food. Tell us how it started.
Oh, wow.
What's the story?
So the story goes all the way back to 2015, before my involvement, for sure. I should start out with a preface that my wife, who's the creative director, Hannah Hudson, and I took over operations of the magazine last October. But it had started out in 2015 under Jen and Aaron Snow. They had come up with the idea of bringing that title to Oklahoma City, had worked with Edible Communities, Inc., who's always been a good partner to the individual edible titles, to bring that in. Her husband, Jen's husband, Aaron, is still a fantastic photographer, and Aaron Snow, a fantastic photographer in OKC. And so between the two of them, they created exactly what you mentioned, was a visually dynamic magazine that told the stories of the people behind the food community of OKC. So when we came along, it was the middle of the pandemic. Jen and Aaron were looking for new adventures, and we were looking for something after coming back from about a decade in Washington, D.C. So we had the benefit of riding the wave of food that had developed there. Michelin had started starring restaurants there about 3 years before we left. So we were lucky to be surrounded by a lot of folks who are doing a lot of interesting things. Hannah had been creative director for Edible DC when we lived there. And so it was a nice transition.
You stuck with the Edible family?
Yeah, I stuck with the Edible family. I had written a couple of things with her for the magazine and had seen how the process worked, and so it made for an easy transition for us last year into this year. And our focus has been a lot of the same. I think there's a lot of food journalism around Oklahoma City that's a lot of who, what, where, when, and what we want to put into it is really the why, what drives people, what motivates people, what makes them do things that sane people might not normally do when it comes to food. And we hope that the readers see little bits of themselves in those stories about these people who are taking risks, who are taking chances, who are trying to make something sometimes out of very few ingredients. So that's our focus, and keeping the great look that the Snows had built. My wife Hannah had studied under Aaron Snow, studied photography, so kind of keeping that same eye towards people and towards that which is visually pleasing.
Nice. Yeah, because I mean, photography styles. It's funny that you mentioned that it's the same style, because it's all great photography, but different style is a whole different feel.
Yeah, and I think the the one thing about humans is that although we love to eat, we are a visual species primarily, and so we are attracted. If you can get a great cover on a magazine, you can move unlimited number of copies because your eye is attracted to it. People pick it up; they don't even think twice about what's about what's in it, and then they get to read fascinating stories about people in their community, and so use the visual angle to really drag them in.
Nice.
And Jen, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Edible OKC.
I started working for Edible OKC in 2017. Just kind of happened very strangely, and the stars aligned. And I happened to be at Blue Garden one day, and I didn't know Aaron and Jen, and somehow ended up teaching their little girl how to dance. And that's kind of the story. It's just they just saw a pretty outgoing personality, someone who just loves people and food and to have a good time, and how easy it was to interact with people. So I got involved in the sales department, and then recently have taken over the social media, which has been a lot of fun. So follow us, and you'll get it. Be hungry all day, every day. Trust me.
You probably will.
Yeah, it'll happen. And then when Stuart and Hannah came around, it's been great. We kind of like hit the road running, and post-pandemic or whatever we're still dealing with, we're just navigating our way as best as everybody else.
We're going to be post-pandemic forever.
Right.
It'll just be a different level.
Yeah.
It's a new reality.
It's just a great group of people, a bunch of creative minds. It's just really cool to sit around and chat, and they had a really nice dinner for us, so we all kind of got to meet each other.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And it's just a really fun bunch, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
And Jenny, I should say, is a little modest. She is a social media queen without a doubt. She is in terms of hires. If you want to think about it that way, Jenny has been huge over the last year, kind of keeping us out there and keeping things positive and busy. So we're infinitely thankful for her contribution.
Very nice. So you kind of gave us a little bit of the background of Edible OKC and how you all got involved and started in it, and a little bit of what the goal was and quite possibly would be for the magazine.
Yeah.
What are some things that you're looking forward to in the future?
Yeah.
You know, are there things that you want to change, things that you want to attack in a certain way? I couldn't think of a better word than attack.
No, we want
less aggressive.
attack and destroy. Yeah. So that's a great question. I mean, the magazine has to reflect the city as a whole and what's going on, what's developing, and that's changed significantly over the last 6-10 years. Obviously, 10 years it's just been almost unrecognizable. In the last 6 years since the magazine came out, the focus of Edible OKC needs to spread with it. So what was originally happening, maybe not primarily, but in large part happening in the Midtown area in terms of new restaurants that are opening, new types of concepts, food for really a different purpose of like food as performance in a way, what's happening in Midtown. Now that's really spreading out quite a bit. And you've got not only all the different districts that are popping up, but there's a ton of great food that exists outside that urban core. And 2022 in particular will be a year where we really expand past that and expand towards different types of food, different communities. We've already done a little bit of that in 2021 with an issue that had a partial focus on the east side. We'll be focusing on indigenous culinary and agricultural efforts. We'll be focusing on the south side. We'll be really looking at Oklahoma as a whole and its food community as a whole. So 2022 and onwards is really going to be about exploring outside of the city center, even though, of course, it'll be hard to ignore whatever fantastic restaurants are popping up there too.
Yeah. Two things came to mind as you were talking about that. We'll go with the first one, since this might be a shorter answer. The new museum that just opened up.
First
Americans.
The First American
Yeah.
Museum that just opened up. They have a restaurant, 39 restaurant.
Yeah.
It's super simple.
Yeah.
And it's indigenous cuisine focused.
Right.
Have you had a chance to try that yet? We haven't. We probably will soon, but
Yes.
you all had a chance to try it. And
So we haven't had a chance yet. I think Loretta Oden is the food consultant who's behind a lot of the First American Museum pieces. She is incredible. I mean, her resume not only speaks for itself just in its length, but in its depth. They had originally scheduled and this might be COVID related, I think, but they had originally scheduled a tasting for earlier in September, I believe, but then had to postpone it, I think, again, for COVID related issues. So we're excited to go through there when they feel like they're ready to kind of do the full thing. So we're looking forward to it for sure.
so the restaurant part of it isn't open yet.
I don't know what the current status is. I do know that the kind of the media work that they were going to do before with tastings and whatnot has been postponed
Pushed it
slightly.
back.
Yeah.
And from the time of this conversation to when this episode is released is a few days. So, anything can happen in that time.
Yeah, it might be a completely different world at that point.
Yeah. Just a little salt seasoning with this conversation at this point.
No, the First American Museum, but just indigenous cuisine in general is something that haven't. We think of oftentimes, especially when we think about indigenous cultures, it's so much either othering or it's not thinking about it in the same way or with the same criteria that we think about new American cuisine,
Right.
and so exploring not only the similarities but the differences, and then and honestly, what came before us as a group
Definitely.
here
Yeah,
is going to
definitely.
be one of the most interesting parts of exploring food in Oklahoma for some time.
I'm definitely excited to learn about the influence that indigenous cultures has had on like our American food,
Yeah.
I personally don't know much about indigenous food here in the United States. I feel like I want to learn so much about it, and I'm so glad that they finally opened. I'm excited to see that influence, to see what American foods, traditional American foods have been influenced and kind of.
And I'm sure,
that.
and I mean, I'm on the same boat as you. I'm very excited to learn more about this, and I'm sure there's some people listening to this being like, there was always this restaurant that did it.
For sure.
Yeah. And I'm sure there is. And we just, just don't know about it because there's so many. So that was actually the not second part of my question, but the second question that stemmed from what you were saying. How do you find new places, innovative places, interesting places to cover? Because there are just so many of them.
I've got one person sitting right next to me who's a big source of that. Jenny is working tirelessly, figuring out who's doing what, finding folks, and trying to, through social media, wherever we can, lift up new folks who are new to the scene or places that are quote unquote undiscovered, but at least hadn't been covered in the magazine, and that really is a microcosm of the larger reality, which is you get it by talking to as many people as you can. You get it by sitting together in a room and chatting about what your favorite things. Uzi, right? And so, like, just the same way that came up earlier, news to you. Now you might go in a week and check it out. It's the same thing. Talking with as many people as you can, and I learned about it actually from Dave Cathy. A few weeks ago, we were sitting, having lunch, and he was like, "Oh, you gotta go try this place down the street. It's just right over there." I was like, "Oh, great, let's do it." And that's it. I mean, you talk to as many people as you can, but you also keep an open mind in terms of where good food's going to come from.
There's no boundary to where it can come from.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's it's something that I talked about a couple weeks ago too, but you have to be willing to kind of take that leap and trust in other folks. I think, and the issue that's currently out, Lucas Dunn, in maybe the last sentence or two in his piece on Szechuan story, gave a really good description of that, which is if they're making it and it sounds out there, they're making it for a reason, and you probably should eat it because it is there, and they're making it for you, and they're taking a chance on it.
I don't think anyone's thinking, be like, this doesn't taste good, but I'm going to serve this.
Yeah, right.
In my restaurant.
Go straight to the menu.
Crap. All of it. Great.
I finally have a menu.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
As we look at the growth of Oklahoma City that you talked about, what have been, and you've really had an opportunity to kind of walk alongside the city over the last couple of years in the food scene. What have been some of the biggest surprises for y'all? And not necessarily from a restaurant standpoint, but trends, communities. Like what's been something that just maybe came out of the blue, you weren't expecting, that is here, that's prevalent in Oklahoma City?
I think it's a really good question, and I think I have, for better or worse, a unique perspective, only because I've been gone for 17 years, and only came back last year. So I come back for holidays, see family, things of that nature. But it was not like it's going to be if you're here, every day, every week, every month. I think the most welcomed piece of what's developing on the food scene are twofold. One, I kind of mentioned earlier, food is performance. So we often just think of our entertainment as completely siloed. We go to see a movie because you want to see a movie. You want to go out to eat because you want to have a good meal. And in reality, none of those things need to be siloed, and you can be entertained while you eat in any kind of number of fashions. So that's great because it provides us with a different way to think about food consumption, a different way to think about a restaurant, a different way to think about what chefs do and where they do it, all those kind of things. So I like that. I think that's fantastic. The other thing that I've seen when I come back with certain restaurants is a focus on high quality and incredibly fresh ingredients, and in simple combinations that work very well together. And so when you taste something, you're not just tasting what you think maybe like a chicken should look like or a spice should taste like. Oftentimes you're tasting something that's so high quality because it was grown in a pasture nearby by one person, and that that chicken had access to specific land that had specific nutrients, and you're tasting that a variety, so that every time that you go somewhere that this is not just a chicken. This is a chicken from this place. Just like you would think about wine, you think wine. Well, you think about your different regions. You think about your different countries. You think about all those kind of things. Having that represented in food in very specific ways with high quality, fresh ingredients is the best.
And a thought that just came to my mind too, just now when you were talking about that, is something that I want to try to be more aware of is whenever I go out to eat, I want to think about going to places that do source locally, because it's a ripple effect. You're not just supporting this restaurant, but you're supporting the resources that this restaurant is connected with. And then it just kind of feeds on itself, So if we continue to go and search for these smaller places or the restaurants that do want to connect with small farms, source their chicken, meat, things like that, then it's really, you're contributing to like a network.
No, it's almost like you're investing, you're doing community building through the food choices that you make. And that, again, it's, you don't think about whether it's a social justice issue or just general community building, capacity building. You do that with whatever economic choice you make, and food's no different.
Yeah.
Any future plans? Anything exciting that you're working on that you can spill the beans or put the beans in the Instapot?
Speed things up.
right.
Instapot's in use right now. We have a chicken carcass that's making bone broth.
Ooh,
all right.
delicious.
So that's in my.
These going to be some good beans.
That's right. That's in my immediate future. So I don't know if that's what you're referencing, but in kind of the longer term, I think it's really goes back to what I mentioned earlier about expanding into different parts of OKC. One thing that we're looking into that is almost thinking about it in a different industry, and Jenny and I were talking about this outside, is in 2022 doing a piece that focuses on the craft services industry in Oklahoma that not necessarily has sprung up, but has been able to thrive a little more because of the filming industry that's come around. So the people who are involved in doing that and looking at food, not just from what's on your plate at a local restaurant, but all of the different varieties and facets that food is served in here in the state, and with Killers of the Flower Moon and all these different movies that are being made. There's interesting stories there too.
Nice. That's definitely an interesting angle, and I would read it.
Great.
That's all you wanted, right?
Yeah, no, that's it. I just want your eyes.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
All right.
Just want your brain.
Successful magazine.
Give me your eyes. Yeah, that's right.
So I know that issues come out every few months, correct?
Yeah, bi-monthly. Right.
Bi-monthly. So when is the next one coming out?
So we've got September, October is out right now, and then our holiday
Nice.
issue for November, December will be out. Generally hits stands the first weekend or just before of that first month.
Awesome.
Nice. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of. It'll be good. It'll be our. I think the first holiday issue that's fully under Hannah and I's control. So we're going to add in some interesting pieces. Gift guide is going to be in there for those who like to eat and want to buy gifts surrounding that, which is fun. Whether you're an adult.
Always the best gifts.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, absolutely. Like
Experiences.
food gear.
Yeah.
Like when you
Yes.
open up that food gear at Christmas, you're like, oh man, I know what the next few weeks are going to be.
You want to make an adult feel like a child at Christmas?
That's right. Yeah.
Get us some gadget that they were like, oh man, this is going to be excellent.
There's nothing better than opening up and seeing that stainless steel, and you're like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you use it, and it's engineered so well, and you're like, oh, Germans.
It
must have
feels
done
so
this.
great. No, just
So we've got November, December gift guides in there, and then we're going to have an interesting piece on the Red Andrews Christmas dinner, which is a charity Christmas dinner that happens and feeds feeds Oklahomans, primarily in Oklahoma City, about 7,000 to 8,000 meals over the course of 6 hours on Christmas Day.
Wow.
And the people that work behind that, providing meals to those who otherwise might not have them.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So that'll be a
That
lot
is
of fun.
incredible.
It's, like so many stories like that, it's incredibly moving because of and just such intense sense of generosity and purpose that people bring to that.
And I'm sure they look for volunteers for helping
that.
them feed that
so
many
in
number of meals.
In normal times, they have just under 1,000 volunteers for the day. If that gives you a sense of the scope of what happens, and volunteers do everything from manage the lines, which the line is significant, all the way down to hold a tray for the person who is walking through the line, so that they have someone to talk to and engage with.
That's nice.
As they make that process. And they also have gifts for kids, and a lot of those are handed out throughout the meals.
Wow.
That's very nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic opportunity for folks to give back.
Yeah. So as that time comes closer, we will share information on how to get involved if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
All right. You've done this before, so not going to tell you what's coming up next.
But act surprised.
It's the kitchen sink. So just a whole bunch of fun questions, and kind of we get to know you a little better. And we always hope that people don't turn it around on us, and sometimes that's happened.
Hopefully not.
So, do you all like to cook at home?
Absolutely, as much as I can.
What do you cook?
Well, what has been pretty hot lately has been
The Instapot.
no, it's actually the tomatoes. Are going bananas. So
The tomatoes are going bananas.
they are. So that gives you the opportunity to make a lot of salsas. I've got poblanos and jalapenos and spices, herbs, everything to mix a delicious salsa that I like to roast on the grill a little bit and then puree it,
a
and
little bit of smokiness.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love to cook. My stuff is usually very spicy, so
Ooh, nice.
yeah. I'm not going to adjust the heat for anybody. Just kidding.
Wow.
Just kidding.
You eat it and you'll like it.
Eat at your own risk.
Exactly.
Wow, that's great. Well, yeah, I mean, that's certainly the case. I had a neighbor drop off a full grocery sack, or not a full grocery, but I mean like half full grocery sack of tomatoes. And there's nothing you could do besides make pasta sauce for like 2 days.
Yes.
Because there's just so many
Pizza.
delicious tomatoes coming
It
out.
reminds me of Joey making pasta sauce. Anyone a Friends fan?
Yes.
Yeah? Ish. Yeah. All right.
Ish.
Well, for the people that are Friends fans,
Yeah. You'll laugh at that one.
you'll remember Chandler reaching in for cookies and getting pasta sauce.
That actually sounds pretty good. Like 20-year-old me would have been pretty sad about the lack of cookies, but like 36-year-old me now is like, oh, pasta sauce. Tell me more about this pasta.
Let's
sauce.
talk.
Forget the cookies.
Yeah, all right. I gave up on those. So we cook a lot at home. As I mentioned, we've got a young son, and so we have to divide a lot of responsibilities. So around that period of the day, I'm taking care of Oliver, our son, and Hannah's doing a lot of cooking. We have been cooking a ton over the past year, really, through the pandemic. From Yotam Adelenge's Simple, and that cookbook in particular has just been the most fun to go through. So we've been piece by piece. I think we're probably somewhere between 50 to 60% of that cookbook has been cooked in the last year.
Nice.
And so we have, dinner that evening, leftovers for the next lunch, and then to the next recipe. So
The next recipe.
that's been big.
You're doing your own Julie and Julia? Was that the name of the movie?
Yeah.
Julie and Julia? Yeah.
That was really good.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what do we do? I don't know which one of us, neither one of us really looks like Yotam Adelenge, so it's not, I don't know who would play us or him in the movie, but we definitely feel like we're living the Mediterranean dream right now,
Nice.
which is great.
Awesome. So the next question is, what is the strangest thing that you've had? And this can be like here or like in your travels, just in your life experiences.
I'm gonna say what I said last time, which is
So you haven't had anything stranger in the past 2 weeks?
No. I just
strange
like
as
the
this.
thing that's strange to me is vegetarian cheese and the cult following that comes with the vegetarian vegan cheese. And I am a vegetarian, but I'm not ever gonna cross the line to being a full vegan because I literally cannot give it up. Queso, grilled cheese, sign me up.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
I once I had a whole baby octopus that I ate like in one pop, which was a little weird. And then a deer tendon soup.
That's just give me the whole pop.
The whole heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
me a little bit of
there was some crunch, and that's an unsettling crunch. Yeah, for sure. And I was probably like 18 maybe. So that was that's one of the most unsettling things that had happened to me at that point in life.
Oh my gosh.
And then deer tendon soup. I feel like I just kept chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, and that was the only soup that I ever chewed more than I drank, I think. So, so that was intense. I don't know if it was the deer tendon in particular or what the deal was, but
Deer tendon soup.
yeah, deer tendon
The
soup.
soup you chew.
Yeah, that's right.
The soup
You chew. That feels like a 40s radio.
Yeah.
kind of thing, you know.
Glad you got that.
This story brought to you by.
This just in.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Deer tendon soup.
Favorite food truck?
I'm just gonna give the mic over to Jen.
I'll give you the short list.
The short list.
Yeah. Saucy Sicilian consistently is cranking out the best pizzas in town, in my opinion. A really great family. Just follow their Instagram to see where you can go get a Neapolitan-style wood-fired pizza. It's delicious. Also, is the Casso's chicken that I talked about earlier. He doesn't have a food truck per se, but he does pop-ups, so kind of the same thing. But great chicken sandwiches. I haven't had a chicken sandwich in 25 years, and to be able to sit there and just like all my dreams come true. So it really is that good. So check out their Instagram as well and get a chicken sandwich, even if you're not vegetarian.
I'm gonna have to try this chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
You better.
We're getting a Wednesday lunch on the calendar.
Okay, perfect. Those are my two favorites.
Nice.
What about you?
Whoa.
Oh, tables have turned.
I feel like I gave them an opening when I said that when we started this.
Feel.
I know, my bad. What about me? What food truck have I tried recently? That was one of my favorites. Because, a lot of the food trucks have graduated to brick and mortars. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, do you still associate them with a food truck or now is that a restaurant? You know what I'm saying?
Or is a food truck always a restaurant?
Ooh. The food trucks is a
deep.
restaurant on wheels.
Whoa.
You're correct. You're very correct.
Just went to a whole nother level, man.
A restaurant is a food truck that doesn't have wheels.
Oh.
A cinder block food truck. Now we're going into some weird rabbit holes. So a food truck that I tried, I would say recently that I enjoyed was Psycho Taco.
That's on my list. I haven't checked it out yet, so.
Do it. Mark is a great guy. He used to be the GM at Parlor, and he just started his own food truck, Psycho Taco. Fantastic guy, super friendly, and I knew that was his food truck, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna try this because I saw it, and he happened to be working in it.
Right on.
Nice.
And he was like, hey, what's up? Let me, and so he walked me through the menu, and their queso, super flavorful, real cheese. So you might enjoy that.
Nice.
I'll be looking at their schedule tonight.
And the taco, I tried a few tacos, and the one that I liked the most was their beer battered cauliflower taco.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
That was delicious.
Nabil, real quick, where can we find the Psycho Taco truck?
So I had him at volleyball. Play volleyball at the Lighthouse, and they'll usually have a different food truck every night.
Okay.
And so this was one of those nights that he was there. So Psycho Taco, I don't know if they're there often or not, but I'm sure if you go on their Facebook or Instagram,
Okay.
you can probably follow them and just like how you stock your food trucks.
Yeah. Well,
Which was an easier food truck stocking mechanism.
Is there not like I haven't looked into this. When we were in DC, there was like one map that somehow like all the food trucks posted their locations on. Does that exist
That
here?
would be nice.
yeah.
I don't know if it does. I feel like in like
Is
the
roaming-
height of the food truck starting.
Yeah, right.
I think there was something like that, and I don't know if it is still there.
Sounds like an opportunity.
Is roaming hunger? Is that part of what they do? Because that's through work when we've been trying to find food trucks for events. I think it's roaminghunger.com or something like that, and it's a list of food trucks, and you can book them for certain events. But I don't know if it has like the map
Of tracking
aspect
them?
of,
Yeah.
like, track exactly where they're going to be.
I think the problem with any tracking service, unless you equip the truck with GPS, is you're relying on the operators to update their location, and I feel like most of the time they're just bogged down in day-to-day operations, right? Trying to keep the truck afloat or whatever it is, and you got to update your location in another location as opposed to just your social media now. And I feel like sometimes like it gets lost.
You need a teenager.
Or you need some way to automate it. I don't know what that is. But obviously it was working in DC, so I think we should be able to do it.
I think so too. I think we have the skills and we have the brains.
Yeah. And we don't have something like that
Are we
here.
making a $6 million man?
Yeah, that's right. I wish.
All right. I guess talking about trucks and moving and mobile food, what's your favorite road trip snack?
Oh, that one for sure is easy. I do it every single time. It's the Big Sky big bag of granola. Like it's so addicting. It's like just perfectly crunchy and sweet and honey and all the good flavors.
That sounds
And
really
it's
good.
not terribly healthy. I mean, unhealthy. So I feel pretty good about myself for the
Yeah.
most part. Until you pull over and go get the chips and all the other stuff.
Well, once the granola's gone,
Yeah,
then,
I'm like,
know.
well,
Gotta
I
get
ate
some
healthy
salty.
today, so let's just treat yourself.
Right.
But yeah, that
Nice.
that is a staple for me.
That
about
sounds
you?
good.
I think it depends what stage of life, that you would ask me that question in, because and all the answers sound just aggressively basic. So it's so embarrassing to have to walk through this. But if I was in high school, gas station hot dogs. Why would I eat those? Why would I eat those as
I
frequently
mean, why
as
would
I
you
did?
not? Why would you not?
I can give you 15 reasons, and they're all ingredients in a gas station hot dog.
And none of them are real. No.
Yeah. It's mostly just words I can't pronounce. Yeah. So that was where I was at in high school, and then just so like we talked about 20s, man, just so many cookies, like so many sweets, just sweets after sweets.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember what it was, but it definitely was probably my like late 20s, early 30s where I was like, I got to stop eating so many cookies. And and so then Gorp, good old raisins and peanuts. I will eat that until I am ill from it, which is every car ride. So
Gorp.
Gorp.
That
Have
is
you ever heard that before?
I have not heard that before.
Yeah,
good
good.
old raisins and peanuts.
Yeah, that's a like backpacking trail hiking
Okay.
piece. But yeah, I don't know why, but trail mix, man, it has everything I need, and that means I ate too much of it. So it's great.
If you ate too much of it, it must be good,
Must be good.
right? That's the only reason.
And let's see. A favorite place or person that you've recently featured on the magazine? Someone or place that comes to mind?
I can go first. There's
You
one.
said that very reluctantly.
No. I'm more than happy to say it. We featured Lillian Timber Farms in our July-August issue, which was just meeting Latasha Timberlake there, talking about her work, her travel internationally, learning about food, learning about the human body, and bringing it, intentionally or not, bringing it all back to Oklahoma to build a community of urban farms, urban gardens, and eventually doing some education and work skills training related programs through those locations and through another farm that she's putting together right now on a grander scale. So someone who's taking everything that they learn from across the globe and bringing it back here in a way that somebody's doing it intentional, in a way to build community, in a way to build social, economic, political capital within the community is always worth a round of applause. So that was
For sure.
a big one for me.
Yeah, that was a good piece.
I think my favorite one was a few years ago. They did kind of like a little taco tour on the south side, which you will definitely find the best tacos in the city, not, on wheels.
Yeah.
Literally,
For sure.
street tacos, $1.50, like
Can't
you
go
can't
wrong.
beat it. I mean, it's great meat, which I don't eat, but, the fresh toppings, cilantro and onions and everything, just to get a map going so people go to the south side and actually get a real non-Tex-Mex taco.
Yeah.
So I really liked that issue. Also, the pho quang that we featured is just a really great kind of refugee story coming to America. And if you haven't been there, you need to go. It's the greenhouse. That's what I call it.
The greenhouse.
Little
So,
greenhouse.
check that place out too. It's just nice to see family-run restaurants, and they're just super grateful. And it's just, you feel good, you eat good, and it's a great place. So check out Pho Quang too.
Place is like my favorite Vietnamese restaurant. I also call it the Little Greenhouse on class. I'm like, let's go to the Little Greenhouse.
There was. Oh, it wasn't them. Sorry, I was thinking about Pho Lin Hua, who just
Which
opened
is
up a
equally
second
tasty.
location
Yeah.
on
It's on
Penn
20.
and
Penn.
It's on a,
Penn and Memorial-ish, 122nd-ish.
Right,
Yeah.
And that's the one that's on north side of 23rd in between Chartel and something else.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
That was the first pho place I ever went to in my entire life. I was in
Wow.
high school, and a girlfriend's father was like, "Oh, we're gonna go. Family eats pho," and I was like, "What? What is pho?"
What?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What did you just call me?
I wanted to leave that joke for someone else. Just like lob it up.
Thank you. I couldn't resist
And
it.
dunk it. and I remember the first time, I think I was either junior and senior in high school, and no one, I don't think anyone else was in there. This was like 17, 18 years ago. And it was like, I had it, and the rest of your life changes after you have your first bowl of great pho. It's like, well, I know what I'm having every day during the winter, and every day I can manage
Yeah.
it.
It's so delicious and
my
rich
God.
and light.
The
it's
broth.
it's just comforting.
yeah.
Oh.
It just makes you
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
better. It's just a great meal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if those flavors are found in other broths in other cultures, but I remember when I tried it the first time too, I was like, is there cinnamon in this?
Yeah, it's
And
like the star anise.
In the star anise too? Man. It's like
Sign me up.
a big ol' hug.
I was gonna say it's a bowl full of hug.
Yeah.
It's one of those foods that when you talk about it for a second, there's always this pause when everyone thinks about how they feel when
Yeah.
they have a good
Yeah.
bowl of pho, and everyone's just silent for a
Well,
second.
yeah, you imagine that bowl sitting in front of you, or like, Because I don't think I've ever gotten a ramen bowl or pho and not like looked at the bowl for a few seconds before I like decide to attack it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most people kind of like dig on in, and I'm usually starting my meal by the time they're finishing because I have to tear everything up a certain way. You got to
Absolutely.
do this sauce in
Yeah.
a circle.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it down to a science, but man, it's all worth it.
It's all that time that goes into it too. I feel it's really a labor of love because they start the broth like hours and like a day in advance.
Right? Yeah. They have to develop all that flavor.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I'm
So
having
hungry
tomorrow.
now.
I know.
And the cold front's coming through. So hey, it's gonna be 75, and you can just pretend that we're like summer's gonna stop at some point. So everyone go eat pho, and then maybe the weather will catch up.
It's gonna be a run on the pho places.
Right.
Favorite food show or movie?
Stuart?
And it doesn't have to be if you can't think of one food related. It could be.
Then we
just
don't
a
want to
fruit.
hear about it.
I'm gonna
We'll be the judge of whether it's a good answer or not.
I'll throw my answer over to Jenny because she's got copious notes on everything she wants to talk about regarding food related media.
Yes.
Well, let's see. I will just say
That was
Anthony
a
Bourdain.
graceful exit.
Yes. Anthony Bourdain forever will probably be one of the favorite humans I've never met, and I hope to have a conversation when we end up in the same place one day. Just picking his brain, just from not just talking about food, but about travel and how, trying different foods, and it brings you together with people. I mean, that's one thing everybody has in common is sitting down and eating, and it's just great conversations that you have, and
His mindset, his philosophy, like how he goes into things.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go experience this.
Yeah. He's just to me like a real person. He didn't have to go to the fanciest place, even though he cooked in nice restaurants.
Yeah.
But I think he was equally happy, if not more happy, to take his shoes off and just sit cross-legged on the floor
Yes,
and
absolutely.
enjoy a meal being prepared for him. And he was always very grateful, and that's what I just think is amazing. So I got a ticket to go see Roadrunner, and I was pretty fortunate to see it a day early, and he's just a good guy. He has another book coming out soon, so I'll go ahead and plug that one too.
Oh.
So it comes out on the
Nice.
28th. I can't remember the title, but it's going to be a good read. I've got it pre-ordered on Amazon right now.
I got his their more recent one, and so The World Traveler.
Yeah, I've got that too.
And so looking forward. I didn't know there was another one coming out. And like something you mentioned about how he was happy eating at the most expensive place and the place where you take your shoes off and sit down on the floor. Like, I think as people, and I noticed this in myself a little bit, as I was getting more into food, I would be always looking more towards like the fancier places, right? And it happened for a little bit, and then I caught myself. I was like, that's not how you should approach food. It's like it's everywhere, right? So you
Yeah.
gotta be trying to embrace that philosophy of just being open to the experience, whatever it is, wherever it is,
Yeah.
whose ever food it is, right? So
And sometimes, and just to plug this into, just taking a chance. Sometimes I feel like when you're somewhere new, and you're trying to look up a place to eat, whether it be on Yelp or whatever, I feel like the reviews aren't always, you shouldn't really make your decision based on the reviews. Just take a chance. Go somewhere and
Ask
just
the locals.
ask the locals.
That's how we found a bunch of places is wherever you go, you just interact with the people that are there and be like, what do you like to eat? Like, where should we go for dinner? Easy question. Everyone's going to have an answer.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. I think on the other end of the spectrum, a series that I enjoy, but it's like movies about food that aren't actually about food, is the Trip series. I've enjoyed those with Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon. I've enjoyed those immensely. And in some ways, it kind of reflects, I guess, a lot on the magazine too. Is that you have beautiful pictures of food, beautiful pictures of people. And the story is the people themselves, and that their story gets manifested in what they eat, and that's trip. What is it? Trip to they have trip to Italy, trip to Spain, trip to Greece, and that whole series is more like eye candy than anything else. A lot of fun.
Where do you watch that?
I don't know where they are. I think for a while they were all on Netflix. They're originally a BBC series, so they're probably some of it's probably accessible through the BBC, but otherwise I think Netflix has the most of them.
And it's like Trip to
Trip
XYZ.
to. It's
Okay.
almost
Nice.
like those Bob Hope movies, where they just do like in the 50s, where they just do like trip to here, trip to here. And it's really just like watching, chefs make beautiful food and two comedians, poking fun at each other for an hour plus, which is a good time.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, nice, easy watch on a Wednesday evening.
I'm gonna have to add that to my watch list.
Me too.
It is on Netflix. I just looked it up.
Oh, nice.
just added it to my
Perfect.
list.
Perfect.
Because I made it up, so
Nice.
We had to fact check. Okay?
Yeah, that's
Probably
good.
on Netflix.
We can now add fact check by independent fact checkers.
Oh wow!
Right, because you did it independently.
two people at
Two
the same time.
sources, yes.
This is how journalism works.
Verified.
Congratulations, everyone.
We are now official. We don't make stuff up. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Toughest question.
Oh no.
You ready for this? What is your favorite restaurant in Oklahoma City?
And it can't be the chicken. The pop.
Yeah.
no.
Oh, I like that. And it can't. Oh, actually, I
Can't.
won't stop you from all of yours. I know what you're gonna say.
Wow.
I
Oh.
switched it up.
Oh, you switched it up.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
I had the same
Curveball.
answer last time, which is a great representation
Right.
of the restaurant.
Yes.
But I'm gonna
Okay.
Spread some love.
Yeah.
So I'll say that I don't know if I can say, being back only for a year and change now, that I could say that I had a favorite restaurant. I do know that the restaurant that brings me, oftentimes brings me the most joy is Frida Southwest, for personal reasons, and then obviously for just the culinary skills that Quinn Carroll brings to the table there. I was lucky enough to know Quinn when we were both in elementary, middle school. We grew up across the street from each other, and so we had a lot of fun times then. And so to see him grow into one of he's cooked at so many different places, but to see him grow into a really phenomenal chef is. Makes you enjoy the food all that much more. So I have a great time being there and thinking about it in that light.
Nice.
Let's see. I'm gonna throw the Jones Assembly some love because not only is the food amazing, their cocktail menu is amazing. It changes seasonally. They've got a great big patio, so it's nice to hang out with your friends for happy hour or brunch or what have you. But also with the live music coming back too, it's just, it's kind of a one-stop shop to
It's such a cool
just go
venue,
have a great
yeah.
time. And the food is incredible. The dips and spreads is always pretty much a given
Yes.
to sit down.
With their flatbread.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The little puffy
Yeah.
bread. Yeah, sign me up for that. I'll probably go get that tomorrow too. If anybody wants to just come eat with me all day,
Well, we know where to
let's
find you on
hang
Wednesdays.
out. Yes, that's true.
Do you need a social media intern?
Whoa.
Oh.
I can't.
take your job?
Yeah, I can't share my magic.
No, that's why I said intern. Not. I just want to tag along and eat food.
yeah, that'll work. We're actually going to go check out a new place tomorrow. My assistant and I, Haley. So there's a place that opened.
My
down.
job's already taken.
That
You are
lasts
more
30
than
seconds.
welcome. It's down at the Boathouse. They had a new restaurant recently opened within the past few weeks called The Perch.
Okay.
And so they reached out to us and wanted to feed us, and I never turned down a meal. And so it'll
We
be
try
fun
hard to not do that, and then there's sometimes where we're like,
Yes.
we can't make it. We're sad.
I chose the day wisely because of the cold front, and it's going to be you know how I am about being outside in the summer. I'm allergic, so it's going to be a great day tomorrow, and I'm going to see how many layers I can put on and be that person. So yeah,
Just put on a big hat. So it's going to be outside.
it's going to be outside.
Put on a big hat. What if it's windy?
I'm going to go bust out my hoodies and
You're gonna get a
put a
pumpkin
scarf
spice
on.
latte first thing, aren't you?
No, actually not yet. I've still been ordering iced teas.
Are you a pumpkin spice latte fan?
I am. And I'm not ashamed of it.
No, I was
I'm
just
like,
wondering. There's no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a
Yeah.
loaded question because people make fun of it, but I mean, you drink what you drink. Like, it's okay.
Exactly.
Judgment-free zone right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I
Right.
even put it I'll do a pumpkin cream sauce for pasta, which is pretty excellent.
Okay.
Get on Pinterest and just type it in, and I'm telling you, or just kind of come up with your own. That's what I did. So
Nice.
pumpkin spice everything.
Pumpkin and cream.
Yeah, and pasta. Oh my.
Yeah, that's it. Repeat the question for me.
Favorite restaurant in
Oh,
Oklahoma
we've already
City.
done
got
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the The perch. No, I don't know.
Look on our Instagram tomorrow, and you'll get to check out what's on their menu.
Ooh,
So this
exciting.
episode won't be out for another week or so. So
It'll still be. open
it'll still be on the Instagram. Maybe let's have to scroll a few pictures.
Yeah, nothing's ever lost. Nothing ever really goes away on the internet.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. You want to believe it, but it doesn't. Well, thanks again for coming back.
Oh, our pleasure.
If you want us to come back next week and just
Do I need to make
now,
another
like-
excuse for audio not working? Or
no, you
just-
just start coming to lunch with me like
Alright.
once a week.
well, I mean, you don't want me as an intern, so I don't want to tag along.
If you provide Gorp, I'll show up. More or less whenever.
Good
We're
old
really getting
raisins
the
and
insides.
peanuts.
That's right.
No, we'll definitely do lunch soon. Tell me when you're going to. Well, the chicken is 1st. Gotta try the vegan chicken, and then we'll decide the next one.
Okay, perfect.
Maybe Uzi, right? Uzi's
Oh,
Uzi's, yeah. Uzi's
That
is a
place.
good choice.
Need to try that.
bookmarked in my
Yeah.
brain.
For sure.
Bookmarked in my head. Let me open up my tab of hundreds of restaurants that I'm supposed to go to. Well, thanks again for coming in and chatting with us about food. We could do this all night, but unfortunately, it's past the hour, and it's getting late.
Yeah.
Yeah. All this food talk, time for dinner.
So if you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button so you know when the next episode is out, and share this podcast with a fellow food lover and spread the love of food in Oklahoma.
Yeah, definitely follow our dear guests, Edible OKC. The Instagram handle is
Edible
Edible OKC.
Easy peasy.
Got
And-
in early.
Yeah,
Right?
there you go.
That's
Edible OKC 1. Dash 1.
Edible OKC.
the Rio edible.
Yeah.
Oh man! And I know that people can sign up for their newsletter
Yes.
because I did, and then you can get the updates on your email.
And pick up this old edition, but pick up the new holiday edition because I mean it's a great coffee table book as well.
Yeah, it is.
Like people thumb through it. It's like we talked about. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Show off Oklahoma when the guests come to town.
Yeah, that's right. I have actually heard it referred to as multiple times as the Oklahoma Coffee Table Book.
Oh,
And,
hey.
like, there we go. Yeah, so you can actually, if you go to the website, there's a locate a copy button or find a copy button. Click that, takes you to Google Map, and everything is listed there.
Anyone of you Seinfeld fans?
Oh no!
No. I
It's
don't know what's
It's
coming.
It's hilarious, but this is the point in life that I've dreaded for maybe 20 years, where I am trying to constantly hide how much I've not watched Seinfeld, and now it's publicly aired for everyone to hear.
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
But Creamer, for whoever is familiar with the show, Creamer comes out with a coffee table book that actually turns into a small coffee table.
Oh my god.
I'm
we're
seeing
done.
an issue in our future. That's a great idea, actually. You could do that, and we could have little cutouts that fold, keep the sides up, and oh my gosh,
yeah,
this
that's what
could
it
be-
was. It folded out and it was a coffee table and a book.
Can you copyright that concept? Is that original creative material?
I mean, they've
I'll look that up.
aired it.
Okay. Well, I mean, can we do? Okay, I'll figure this out.
Cool. Well, a joke leads to a real idea. Look at this. No. And while you're following Edible OKC, follow us at OKC Foodcast on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all the fun stuffs. And be sure to send us a message when you're on there. We love hearing from you. So until next time, eat well and be happy.